Welcome back to Human Centric. Before I get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you to anybody who watched the first episode, and thank you as well to anybody who messaged me about it. I've had loads of positive messages and loads of messages of people trying to be constructive as well, helping me understand what you guys as viewers want. So I just want to say, if you are watching this episode and you do see something that you want to chat to me about and you see something that I can improve on, please do not hesitate to reach out. I really, really want to make this as good as I possibly can. Today's human is a gentleman called Tom York. You guys might know him as Tom York Fit. Tom is 23 years old, but you wouldn't know that because the way he carries himself projects him as a person way, way, way beyond those years. I've only met Tom a couple of times before this podcast, but we've spoken for a while on social media, which is absolutely one of the benefits of the times we live in. I think Tom is a very special human being. He's been through multiple things in his very young life that most people will never even go through in their whole life. Tom lost his mum at the age of 5, and then his best friend lost his battle with mental health, unfortunately. And instead of letting those two things get the better of him, Tom has decided to use those two things to have a positive impact on the world in any way that he can. He used health and fitness in his own life as an anchor to turn his life around. That's both his physical health and his mental health. In the podcast, he talks about becoming an Ironman with no previous triathlon experience, which to me is just crazy. He talks about how he does hard things physically to help him get through hard things mentally. And I think that's something we can all tap into and try and understand on a deeper level. I was lucky enough to catch Tom the day after he did a talk to thousands of farmers on resilience, what resilience means to him and how he uses it in his everyday life. Tom really is somebody that I admire, and I think he's someone that we can all seek a good example from for multiple different reasons. So I hope you guys enjoy the pod, and if you do, please like, comment and subscribe, because as I said, I am trying to make this the best that I possibly can, and any interaction on the content is really, really useful, and it does help me out.
Cheers.
There's a bottle of water there for you.
Oh, nice one.
That's smart water.
Ideal.
So
It's nice and cosy, this, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, it's all right. You know, I decided to make a bit of an effort with the podcast corner. I didn't want to.
I'm liking the Liverpool memorabilia.
Yeah, that is the programme from the Barcelona 4-0.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, were you? Yeah.
What a game.
Yeah, unreal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember. I've never screamed, shouted, cried.
It was mad, wasn't
the
it?
The emotions were crazy.
I like trying to explain to people who weren't there. It was like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, me.
I think one of my most rewatched YouTube videos is the highlights from that game. And
yeah.
I showed it to when I got with Holly, my girlfriend, I showed it to her, and I was literally there like, no, you have to keep watching.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I don't care.
Yeah, it was some game. I met a guy called John at the game.
There's always a John, isn't there?
There is always a John, yeah. We were sitting behind the goal in the Kop, and well, we were meant to be, but we couldn't get along the road because you know what the Kop's like. It's a bit mad like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you want a cup of tea or anything before we start?
No, it's all right.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'll stick with
okay,
water.
no stress.
Cheers.
So I ended up sitting by this guy called John from San Francisco.
Right.
And he'd been to he'd flown from San Francisco to New York.
Okay.
New York to Ireland.
Yeah.
He'd gone on his cousin's stag do from Ireland to Budapest or Prague. It was one of them, something like that.
Right.
He'd flown from Prague or wherever it was to Liverpool.
Yeah.
He'd bought a ticket for £400.
Yeah.
And he was sat next to me, and I thought,
sounds like something off like.
there's no way I'm letting this fella go home on his own tonight. So we took him out into town.
Did you?
Yeah. And we took him out into town, and he had a flight he was leaving for the airport about 6 a.m. I think his flight was about 8:30 or something like that, from Liverpool to Dublin, and then Dublin to New York to San Fran.
Yeah.
Mate, we left him in Concert Square with a jug of beer about 3:50 in the morning.
sun coming up. It
Yeah.
was May, wasn't it? It would've been
Mate,
getting,
honestly, it was...
light at that time.
Yeah, it was unreal. But I thought, there's no way this fella's travelled this far. There's no way I can't, like, give him the
Properly show
hospitality that he needs,
Yeah.
right?
Concert Square has to be done.
And we stayed in touch. And he's always like come to San Fran, and then he came over a few years ago, and I took him to the what was it? I think Nunes was playing against us.
Oh, no, Benfica.
Benfica, that's
Yeah,
it.
sorry,
Began with a
not
B.
the
Yeah. Benfica. Nunes playing against us.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good. Funny. But yeah, no, I tried to make a little bit of an effort with the corner. I've got loads of other stuff to go up. I've got a few flags from the Open.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple of shirts that I want to put up as well. So
Nice. Yeah, make it
we'll
your own,
see.
because that's. I think when you start a podcast, obviously it will change and evolve as the podcast grows.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
yeah.
get to create an environment that I suppose not only like makes you feel comfortable, makes the guests feel comfortable, but also something that shows a bit of your personality as well.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
That personal touch.
That's
to
it. Talk to me about Australia.
Life-changing
Yeah.
experience. Yeah. So it's somewhere that I've always wanted to go. I've had so many mates go there, and I got to a point where I was just so sick of them telling me how good it was.
Unbelievable, isn't
I was
it?
like,
I've got the Southern Cross on my arm.
Oh, sick.
The stars on the flag.
Nice.
We went when we were 18. Oh.
Yeah, we booked it through this tour company, so I went out with my missus,
Yeah.
and she basically, like, we decided that we had like 6 weeks with her getting time off work,
Yeah.
and she wanted to do Thailand as well, so we were like, right, we'll do 4.5 weeks in Australia and then a week and a half in Thailand. Looking back, we could have done double, triple, quadruple.
Easy.
Probably could have done with living out there as well. But,
Yeah.
Think
Think that'll be the answer one day?
see where life takes you. I mean, I'm never going to say no. It would be unreal. I think it's a big move.
Did you do a tour in both Australia and Thailand?
No, Thailand. We booked it like, so we had pre-booked the
Yeah.
hotels and the flights.
Yeah.
Like internally. But we didn't book anything else. We just thought, we'll decide when we're there.
I love Thailand.
We did.
There's too many things that get you in trouble in Thailand.
Yeah. I was there with obviously my missus.
Yeah.
But my mate who's in Australia, he's just about to finish work, and then he's going to, doing Southeast Asia, Bali, Thailand, Vietnam, and all them. And she just kept saying, if you were here with your mate, you would be in some trouble. I was like, I know.
I just think I just love the place. I love Thailand.
It's
honestly.
like a playground, isn't it?
It is like a playground. So talk to me about yesterday. Were you buzzing?
I was buzzing after. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a real overwhelming sense of pride that I don't allow myself to feel too often. I always, sometimes I think, probably due to my ADHD and also the fact that I take on a lot, when you're running at 100 miles per hour, it's really easy to just sort of whiz past things, do it, move on, what's next. And quite often, it's not until you're so far down the road that you look back and go, oh, look how far I've come. I've done a few talks before to small groups that like maybe max 30 people, and then I got presented with this opportunity to go and speak about my stand on personal resilience at one of the biggest farming conferences in Europe. When I came off the stage, some of the things that I was talking about, because I've spoke about them so much and I'm so open, the sort of emotions that come with them don't really have any control over me.
Yeah.
I feel as though because I'm so open with them, when you bottle things up, which I had done for a lot of years, that's when it's internal then, and it can take over you and your mind starts dwelling on them. But as soon as you put them out there and you give them a voice, they lose all power.
Yeah.
But I did sit down and sort of look around the room, and some people I know were sort of really smiling and looking at me. And it was only then that I sort of I didn't cry or anything, but I started to feel really like emotional.
Yeah, positive emotion.
Positive emotion.
Which, mate, I cry more at positive stuff than sad stuff.
Yeah.
Like you, I've seen. I think I've seen the saddest thing that I can see. So, one of the things I did early doors in my mental health difficulty journey was I was prepared to speak quickly because I knew if I didn't, I would go down a bad pathway.
Yeah.
And I feel the same as you. Those emotions don't hold power over me anymore.
Yeah.
They don't. They don't make me. They make me stronger in those situations. Yeah. I feel like I can deliver better things in those situations talking about them.
Yeah.
Because they just don't hold that power over me anymore. Whereas the happy thing, if someone smart, like I did a speech at my mate's wedding the other day. Mate, I was ready to bawl my eyes out. I love the pair of them. Do you know what I mean? The Jack and Charlie, both of them are great friends of mine, and I find that stuff harder than the sad stuff. Like my sister's kids only have to run in and say something to me, and I'm like I've had a stroke. Do you know what I mean? Like my bottom lip's going, and I'm like my eyes are going funny and that, and like
typical hay fever.
Yeah. That's nice, mate. That's nice that you felt like that. So, for me, your Instagram is probably one of my most interacted and visited, right? And I don't say that with any kind of prior, thought process. A big topic on your Instagram is resilience, right? We've just spoken about how you've done a talk yesterday, and resilience is the kind of topic, and I know there is branches from that which we'll get into in a second.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, I want to know why resilience is so important to your identity.
Okay, so throughout my life, I have been faced with challenges, and one thing that I've come to learn is that life will inevitably throw challenges at you, and the person that you're not defined by the challenges, you're defined by the person you are.
Yeah.
That comes out of the challenge. And resilience is a big word, carries a lot. It can be quite daunting and overwhelming, and it can also be applied in many different ways. But I think for me, if we can't escape the challenges, what we can control is how we view them, and whether it determines you or changes you.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to building an identity, you have to be resilient, because life is unfair.
Yeah.
It might not be unfair yet, but there will become a point where you are tested.
Yeah.
And it's the people that, I mean, one of the things that I suppose I've done over the years is practice chosen suffering, so that when the unchosen suffering comes, you're much more prepared for it.
Did you run yesterday before
no,
talk?
Because I was up at 4.
Okay.
Woke up, couldn't stop going through the speech.
Of course, yeah.
But I did do, I wouldn't call it a HIIT workout, but it was just a load of push-ups and just something. I just had to do something to...
Yeah.
But the everything that I'd done in the week leading up to that had sort of given me the evidence that...
Yeah.
So I ran the morning before I travelled down to the conference.
Yeah.
So I was up at 6, which I know to a lot of people won't be early, but when you're going out for a run in the middle of January, 6 is early enough.
It's early enough, mate. Don't you worry about that. I've got nothing to prove here. I'm happily in bed at 6 o'clock. Don't you worry about that. Okay, what does tell me what resilience means to you then? Like, how do you define it? Again, I know it was a big part of your talk, so I want you to try and tap into that for me, and tell me what how you define it.
So I'll start where I finished my talk. So my favourite quote for resilience is, "Life isn't about waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain." And for me, I think resilience is built off three sort of pillars. So belief, failure, and what's the third one? Belief, failure, decisions.
Okay.
I think, and not necessarily in that order, but I think those three shape what it means to be a resilient person.
Yeah.
So, belief wise, I don't think resilience is talent or luck, but I think it's the accumulation of effort before you'll see any results. I think failure, because if people view failure as full stops,
Yeah.
then they'll never overcome anything. But if you see it as a comma, you start to appreciate that, okay, things might not be the same as what they are, but just like a comma does in a sentence, it just changes the direction of it.
Yeah.
And then decision, I think whenever a challenge presents itself to you, it just comes down to two options. You can either kick it under the carpet and ignore it and distract yourself through, usually the distraction comes from things that aren't healthy
Yeah.
habits, or you can choose to face it and climb the sort of metaphorical mountain and overcome it. And when you get to the top of the mountain, I think that is where the whole resilience is shaped.
Yeah.
There'll be another mountain to climb,
Yeah, of course.
but I think that for me is what builds the foundations of it and how
Yeah.
I'd view it.
One of my favourite sayings, I use it to help me in tough moments, and I did a post last year about sometimes I used to feel resentful on Mother's Day, and I'd be like scrolling Instagram, I'd be like wanting to throw my phone against the wall, and then like I had this epiphany of like the world owes you nothing.
Yeah.
The world owes you nothing,
Yeah.
and if you're okay with that.
Yeah,
After
I've never
that
heard
point,
that or thought of it like, that way before.
It literally owes you nothing.
Yeah.
But sometimes we act in a way where the world owes us everything.
Like we're entitled to...
Exactly that, and I think that's a good summary of what you're saying there, isn't it? Like there's going to be the next mountain and whatever else, and if you sometimes we see people go through things, and for some reason they find it difficult to get past them, and they they don't deal with them very well, and it's it's a bit of a harsh term, but it's like victim mode, isn't it? Like if you're stuck in victim mode, you go in nowhere.
And I think I have witnessed what that looks like, and it's not healthy for the person or everyone around them, because there's a time and a place to grieve or struggle or sort of accept that, oh, that was really hard. But there also has to be a turning point where it's like, okay, now I need to, and that's where it comes down to the decision.
Yeah.
There has to be that conscious decision made where it's like, okay, I need to face it now. I need to overcome this. And maybe it might not even be for your benefit that you're thinking that, but you can't be selfish, because there are people around you who it will affect without you wanting it to. And I've seen it so many times, and people lose relationships, friends, family, colleagues, because they haven't chosen, and they have gone into that victim mode, haven't they? And just expecting everyone to accept that they're now a victim of that thing. But
victim of the circumstance.
And it's like, the challenge that you went through, I'm really sorry that you got dealt that bad hand, but it was you that got dealt the bad hand, not us. And we're here to give you advice and support, but we also have our own bad hands that we'll get dealt. Responsibility
is power.
Yeah.
You don't get the power without taking the responsibility, do you? You know what I mean?
I think one of the things that I've struggled to come to terms with is not every problem is yours to fix, and we live in a world where there are a lot of fixers and people that want to fix.
Yeah.
And it's recognizing that, is it my responsibility to fix this problem, or is it the...
I think sometimes as well, one of the best things I ever learned in therapy was tell people what you need from them before you start talking to them, because I had when I was going through a really bad bout of mental health, I had friends, and one of them had this knack of like knowing whether I needed advice or whether I just needed someone to sit in the mud with me, right?
Yeah, I know.
And another one didn't.
Yeah.
And for some weird reason, it wasn't. It would always be, if I went for advice, I would sometimes be met with like, not silence, but like the sit in the mud. And sometimes if I just wanted to have a rant, and I just wanted to have a little sulk for a minute, which I don't think is all that bad at times. I think we need to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
When you're in that mood and you get laced with advice, you're like that, aren't you?
You feel like being preached on.
Yes, and exactly.
It's almost, sometimes it's like in your head, it's like, what's given you the right to stand up and think that... And it's really difficult, isn't it? Because a lot of the time they're coming from a good place.
Yeah. And
I think that's where the open communication is so important.
Yeah.
Because it's like you say, if you tell them what you want or need, and also
before you tell them as well, before you tell them the problem, just say, hey mate, I don't need you to say anything here. I just need you to be quiet and silent and nod and go, and then when you need advice, say, hey, I really need your opinion on this. That was the big thing that changed. Communication was like understanding communication and why people respond was the thing that changed my mental health for the better, because I started to come from a position of understanding rather than a position of just, do you know what I mean, like going at people or whatever. It's like vice versa as well.
Yeah, I mean, so one of my mates, when we were working on farms, so I've just, for the past 7 summers, I have worked doing probably on average like 80-hour weeks. Some would stretch to like 100, some might be a bit less. It's lonely, like really lonely and really isolating. But the good thing is that a lot of my mates now all do the same thing. So we'll all ring each other. Yeah. And we don't message each other and go, hi mate, fancy a call, because that's going to be really good for our mental health. But indirectly, it's like that, just that little thing of just chatting to someone. And I think sometimes when it comes to helping people with their mental health, we have to try and lower the barrier to entry to as low as possible. And I think that's where stuff like fitness comes into play a lot. But also, it's like the minute that the term mental health is used, everyone sort of puts the guard up, and it's like, ooh, like, and all of a sudden when you say mental health, most people would say anxiety, depression, loneliness, overwhelming. But we all have mental health, just like we all have physical health. Some people are fit, some people are unfit, some people are really happy, some people are struggling. And it's through, what I've found is like the indirect conversations that you walk away from, and maybe in the moment you don't recognise that was really beneficial for me. But then you get home and it's like, oh, the fact that I've just spoken to someone. Because how easy is it now to just not speak to anyone, because we think we're talking to people on the phone or on whether you're WhatsApping or DMing, but we're humans. We're humans that are built off connection. So I always try and say to people, or I try and do myself, is just pick up the phone to someone and have a conversation.
Definitely. I agree. And obviously, like you say, we're going down a pathway of like, it appears harder and harder to do that, or it's actually easier, and I guess not harder to do it, but it's easier and easier not to do it. And there's obviously a slight difference there. Talk to me about farming then, mate. What got you into, we're going to come back to resilience in a second, like I say, because you've connected your passion, which is talking about resilience and the three facets that you believe make up resilience.
Yeah.
But you delivered that to the farming industry, agricultural industry yesterday.
Yeah.
So what got you into farming? Does it run in the family?
Sort of, yeah. So mum was brought up with her sister on a family farm down in Cambridge. So mum's originally from Cambridge. She met dad at school. He's from Northamptonshire, little village in Northamptonshire. And dad's not a farmer, never has been. Loves coming and sitting on a tractor, but no interest in farming. So mum moved away from the farm just before I was born.
Yeah.
They moved up here onto the Wirral. And then growing up, a lot of our summers we got sent down to Granny and Grandpa to spend a few weeks on the farm.
Yeah.
Which they were quite traditional grandparents.
Yeah.
So when we were younger, we used to not hate it, but it was like really restricted. There was no sweets, no fizzy drinks or anything. But being on the farm and being in the countryside, for me, obviously at the time I didn't know that I had ADHD, but I think just that sense of freedom, just being able to run around.
Fresh stimulus,
yeah. And the big machines as well, I think, for a little, like when you're a little boy and you...
Let me ask you this. Do you feel a weight to carry on your mum's passion and profession?
So I mentioned it in my speech. I don't feel a weight. I feel more a sense of pride.
Empowerment. Sorry, that's probably a bad question for me.
I think it's fair to ask.
You get what I mean, don't you? Is it a thing that you are trying to do to continue?
Yes and no. I think probably 50-50.
Okay.
I think 50% comes from I've just built up this passion for
enjoying it, being a child, being free, fresh air, all that. Yeah, lovely.
But I think the sense of pride comes from knowing that I would never have been able to, or I would have never been exposed to that if she hadn't have been brought up in that environment.
Yeah.
So like one of the things that I mentioned in my speech was, so when I graduated uni in September, got offered a full-time grad job, and I had mixed emotions when I got that. There was the sense of, and even in graduation actually, there was a sense of pride that I was carrying on sort of her legacy and something that she obviously grew up around, but also like a real sense of absence, because it was like, even though I'm carrying it on, she's not here to see it.
Yeah.
Which is a
Mate,
really
life's
weird...
full of them moments, in it.
And it's sometimes can be quite hard to actually process that, because on one hand you're like, I should be really proud.
Yeah.
You know, I'm achieving the things that I've set out to achieve, and I know that, you know, I get reminded all the time, you know, she'd be looking down on you and she'd be so proud, but then at the same time it's like, but she's not here.
Doesn't take away the fact that you still feel those feelings. They don't cancel each other out. They're not mutually exclusive, are they? Do you know what I mean? Those two things can exist, right?
Definitely.
So no, I appreciate that, mate. That's I can see where you come from that, but I like the fact that it's also like, you know, it's part of your youth as well and stuff like that. And it certainly sounds to me like a positive thing. Now, I think I, from a surface level, understand why resilience in farming is important, not just because of the long, lonely hours, but because the way the world is moving forward and how much access we have to things that make our lives easier and more convenient.
Yeah.
I can understand why that would hurt the farming industry as well. Now, I am not somebody who thinks, like, I think if you blanket say something is bad, I just think you're already at a loss.
Yeah.
Right? So, the way we process foods has absolutely, unequivocally enhanced people's quality of life.
Yeah.
It has to have done.
Yeah.
Because life expectancy is longer, and I look at people like old people, and you go into M&S food, and they've got little hot pots, they've got little shepherd's pies, they've got all these little things, and it's like and you look at if you look at there's a guy on Instagram called Joshua Hill Nutrition, and Josh talks a lot about the class issue within food shopping and all that kind of stuff is really, really good.
Yeah.
But I also believe where we can, we need to be keeping things as local as possible to help that. So I think I understand why resilience is important within farming, both from an individual point of view, but also from like where the industry is going and why it's important for us as a community to stay on top of the industry. But why else do you think resilience is important in farming?
So resilience in farming can be applied to all aspects. So whether it's food security, and when I say food security, I mean our ability to be able to feed ourselves as a nation.
Yeah.
And then you've also got food inequality. So a quote that was put up in one of the speeches yesterday was a guy who comes from a council estate.
Okay.
And his quote was, "In my town, you can buy a blueberry flavoured vape, but you can't buy blueberries."
Amazing.
And
amazing. Like, what a quote that is.
Yeah. And that sort of summed up what he was talking about. I think it's really difficult because we live in a cost of living crisis, and statistically, this isn't me just saying this, but statistically, the first thing that people drop from their supermarket trolley is fresh fruit and veg.
Yeah.
Because it...
Lifespan,
perishability. And then even in the fruit and veg aisle, you've got different brands, you've got organic, and they're all sitting at different costs.
And sent from all over the world as well, by the way, because of course we can't grow all fruit and veg in all climate. There is horses for courses, as they say, right?
Yeah, and I think there is a massive disconnect between the farmer and the consumer, the person buying the food. For example, I don't think many people will know this, but when you buy a loaf of bread, let's say it's £1.10-ish, £1.20, a farmer will see about 2p of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because of the amount of processes that the bread has gone through and the amount of different stages within the supply chain.
Yeah.
The farmer sees like pennies.
Yeah.
Yet they're the ones that carry all the risk. Farming is one of the worst forms of gambling you could ever imagine, because every year they invest hundreds of thousands in planting a crop that can and does fail because of weather, the climate that we're living in. Obviously climate change is massively affecting farms. The cost of growing the crops keeps rising because like war. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, loads of inputs went up. You've also got the government making huge changes. So ever since we left Brexit, farmers now don't receive any funding to grow food.
Right.
And I think...
From the EU,
From the EU, they cut that out and basically replaced it with this, I'm going to say Ponzi environmental scheme. Whether that's how you see it or not. But... and I think a lot of people, when you go into a supermarket, you don't actually understand where that food comes from. And I think a lot of people think as farmers as these people that drive around in Range Rovers and live in these massive houses.
Blasting diesel into the air, that's what I guess. It's easy to control the narrative though when you also... I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it's easy to control the narrative when you control the media.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So... Clarkson's farm's done a great job. But the problem is with Clarkson's farm is that he is the person who's driving around in a Range Rover.
Yeah.
He's done a really good job.
It's the yin and yang in it. The biggest strength will always be the biggest weakness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have worked on... So my job is basically offering business consultancy advice to farmers.
Okay.
Now, I see both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I see farmers that are thriving, that put in... Them Range Rovers come from a huge amount of work. I think that's another thing that has to be reiterated.
Can I just say one other thing as well? I
Yeah.
think it's really important as a society that we don't begrudge people the spoils of their work. I think it's a very, very dangerous pathway if we start begrudging people, because we don't know how hard they've worked to pay for that.
Yeah.
We do not know how hard they've worked at all. And we see it across the board in every industry. There'll be people who aren't doing the thing that look at people who are doing the thing.
It's easy for them to presume.
Correct.
That's been handed to you.
Correct. Especially when there's a debate to be had in another area of the industry, it's easy, instead of having an intelligent, informed debate on the actual topic that they're talking about, it's easy to try and offend somebody because you don't agree with something that they are doing or how they're spending their money or something like that.
Yeah.
It's very hard, that.
100%. And on the other end of that, so everyone will see the highlight. I mean, I suppose it's similar to social media. Everyone sees the highlights of farming and the presumes that that's what it's all like. I have seen some real examples of like farmers living in poverty.
Yeah, I bet you have.
Like the thing is, when you look at a farm, so land is the most valuable thing that you can own. But in farming, the amount of money that's produced off that land is tiny.
It's small.
So every year the farmer walks away barely being able to pay themselves.
Yeah.
And the argument to that is, well, why doesn't the farmer just sell his land?
The other thing that is sometimes, unfortunately, the truth. We said before, responsibility is power. And we also talked about victim mode.
Yeah.
Now, some farmers move with the times and they tap into other markets. They try, or they ask somebody else in their family to try and understand social media. They ask someone else in their family to try and how do we move forward? And if you it's like the whole check yourself before you wreck yourself quote, right? That's essentially what that is. It's not nice. It's not nice. But you have to move with the times. Or you are gonna struggle, and that's any industry. You just have to. You don't really have a choice. And do you see that quite often in farming, where some people are, I don't want to say moaning about the state of farming rather than working on their little thing. It's a bit. So let me just kind of bring this back to this podcast a second. The reason we're sitting here talking is because I don't like the way social media is going. Right. So what's my choices?
Sit there and moan about it.
Sit there and moan about it, and lose my business. Or change my input and therefore change my what I get out of it. Right.
And looping back to the question, obviously resilience within farming, but it can be applied to anywhere. Is change will be inevitable because as technology comes out, as governments switch, as stuff goes on outside of our control, you have to be able to adapt.
Just keep going.
And if you have to, the path isn't going to be clear, but you have to figure out a way to move forward and adapt. And I think that's what a lot of farmers struggle with. Probably a lot of people in a lot of industries struggle
Generational thing, would you say?
Somewhat, yeah. I think stubbornness is quite a big thing as well.
There'll be a day where our generation gets left behind, mate.
Yeah.
There just will be.
So let's say tomorrow the government turned around, this is very hypothetical, but let's say the government turned around tomorrow and said they're banning like Instagram and TikTok. Are we just going to sit there and like, for you...
Some people are, some people aren't.
Exactly.
And that's it, isn't it?
Or are you going to have the willingness to go out and learn how to apply your skill set to something else?
There's going to be people listening to this. Hopefully a lot of people listening to this. And what I want to say is decide what person you are. Decide what person you are. Because you're going to be faced with a problem sooner or later. So you're either going to be the person who doesn't make the change, or you're going to be the person that moves with the time. So I want these conversations to be thought-provoking.
Yeah.
And I want them to have a positive impact on people. And I think that's one of those moments where someone might be listening to this and go, shit, man, I'm stuck in that mode.
Yeah.
Am I going to do something about this?
Yeah.
Or am I going to control it? Or am I
Yeah.
going to let it control me? Let me ask you this, farming at uni.
Yeah.
What course did you do? Like what was the...
So I basically did a business management course that is centered around agriculture. So the
Wicked.
official term is agribusiness management.
Yeah.
And that basically just gave me the skills. It was like if you were to go to and do a general business management course, so you sales and customer service,
Yeah.
supply chains, financial stuff. It's just in a setting that can be applied to agriculture, I suppose.
Yeah. So you are responsible, mate, for a social media post that got a lot of attention, didn't it, from one of your farming pals? It's had a massive impact on people. We talked about measuring impact before. And one of your friends from uni, Ted, he decided that his troubles were too much.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
And he made a decision that had an impact on a lot of people's lives, and you're trying to use that impact and make a positive impression on the world about it. I don't want to know why. I don't want to know how. I don't want to know anything like that.
Yeah.
I want you first and foremost to have a platform to tell me, because I didn't know Ted. Tell me what he was like. Rave about him. Tell me all the good bits.
I think I put it on the post, but I'm going to try and recite this quote that I read, and I thought it perfectly described him. But it was like the most beautiful form of kindness is when someone walks into a room and recognises that someone isn't smiling and makes it their mission to put a smile on that person's face. And that was very much who Ted was. He was a larger than life character. He was just one of them people that you need in a friendship group.
Yeah.
The one who... So when we were at uni and we were living in the house, he got a job working on a farm and he had to start at 4 a.m. And there was quite a few nights where he offered to give us lifts. Like, let's say he didn't go out because he had to be up at 4.
It's perfect pick-up time for student £1 shop nights, that, isn't it? 4 o'clock.
There was one night where he came and picked us up at 1, got back in bed for 2 hours, and then got up and went to work.
Yeah.
And he was just always that person that was willing to give you a hand, shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
If you wanted to just... I feel as though, as lads, sometimes we can have this sort of courage that prevents us from opening up sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why men's mental health is such a big issue.
Yeah.
But he was one of them people where you never felt judged or...
Did you feel safe?
Yeah.
Was that a good word, would you say?
Yeah, safe.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of trust there. He came from such a loving family.
Yeah.
And that love was definitely sort of ingrained into him and something that he made it his mission to spread. And I think the other thing is our university wasn't in a city, it wasn't big, it was based in Newport in Shropshire, and it was very much a community.
Okay.
And at that university, if you were a student, you were part of the community.
Yeah.
Which obviously then, when someone from such a tight community ends up losing their life, it has a massive knock-on effect. But he built up such a big relationship with everyone in the community. And it was almost, when you saw the effect it had on people, yes, it was, of course, really upsetting. But I think, like his funeral, for example, they very much invited everyone from the university to come.
Did you have a good day? Was it
It was positive.
Positive, yeah. That's what I mean. I ask that question a lot because I feel like that's the best way to do it. Like, did you have a good day? Like I can wholeheartedly say that when I look back on my mum's funeral, we had a fucking great day. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's I think that's that important. I think really important.
So I think I was saying to you before when we were speaking earlier, the way that within our house there was 5 of us lads, and we were all like really close mates. So it was like a proper group of us. We always went out drinking together. You know, there was that photo of all of us in the shop. Yeah. And Ted's holding the crate of dark fruits, which I'm pretty sure he brought because he was always very. He wanted everyone to have a good time, if that meant. That. But going back to that, I actually didn't know how I was going to feel during the funeral because it was the first funeral that I'd been to, which was like a mate and not someone family. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, so once it was over, I went and sat in the church for like 5 minutes and just used that as my time to just sort of not close the book because it I
do your own thing. Yeah, just use it. So
that was my time to process. Okay, this is how you're feeling, but this is now where the page turns and life carries on. Yeah, and I think so none of us wore black. It was nice. We all wore our university sports ties. Nice. I had a sort of like gilet on because, so I don't know if you know, but in farming there's these things called shuffles, which are like gilets, very distinctive. Yeah. And his mum had requested that everyone wore shuffles because that's what Ted loved to wear. Yeah. And that was the room, but it was so. The thing that made it so positive was the fact that there was people literally queuing up on the outside the church to try and get in. It was rammed. Yeah. And when you look around and you think it is a really sad thing that's happened. Yeah. But how beautiful that there was that many people that he had an effect on.
Yeah. Can I know why. I know this is a big thing of why you are producing the social media content that you are, why you are talking to people about resilience within farming and that kind of thing. Can I quote one of your Instagram quotes to give people a good understanding? I mean, most people listening to this will probably follow you, but like you said there, it says he was the kind of person who noticed when someone wasn't smiling and made it his mission to change that. The kind of mate that you laughed with endlessly, gave you a shoulder to cry on, the one that always knew the right thing to say, the friend that everybody needs in their life. Yeah. His passing left a legacy so strong that it became my why for doing so much of what I do now. And it's why I started to push myself physically, turning the pain and guilt into something purposeful. And I think that's really good. I'm going to come back to that. Yeah. And you continue to say, it's why I continue to raise money and awareness for mental health and trying to give a voice for the people who struggle in silence, like so many do. Listen, I think what you're doing and how you're channeling the difficulty that you have all been through, his family and friends, and the difficulty that Ted himself went through, and that's why I wanted to give you that opportunity to tell people what he was like, because I think that's the best way to honour somebody is to keep talking about them and their positive personality points, and the second best way to honour them is to allow their values and the things that they did as a person that you just listed so brilliantly before, if you bring them to life within your actions and your stuff that you do day to day, I think that's super important, mate. So I think it's class what you're doing. So I'll be back chatting with Tom in just a sec, but I just wanted to take 30 seconds to tell you that this podcast is sponsored by the Farming Community Network. They support the farming community through any personal or business issues that you might have. As Tom has mentioned in the podcast, resilience is so important in the farming community, whether that be through loneliness, mental health issues, or business issues that can very, very easily arise. The Farming Community Network makes sure they're there for you with whatever problem may arise. I'm going to drop a link to their socials in the description of this video, and if you feel like you might need help from them, all of their contact details are on their page and you can reach them easily. Right, back to the good stuff. You mentioned on that post about why you choose to do things that are difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you didn't say that you choose to do things that are difficult to mask it.
Yeah.
Because exercise isn't therapy.
No.
Right? Therapy is therapy.
Yeah.
Although people's favourite fitness influencers would like to make people believe otherwise.
Yeah.
Exercise is not therapy. It's a great tool.
Yeah.
But you said there about, doing difficult things.
Yeah.
To give you purpose.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me your experience about and obviously the reason why you did it and the raising the money and all that kind of stuff and where it went to and how that links back into TED about your doing an Ironman with zero triathlon experience, which is pretty nuts.
So I suppose coming back to the ADHD thing, it was very much like dream big. Whether you're actually able to do it, while you figure it out.
Can I give you a little quote for that? Sorry.
Go on.
Bite off more than you can chew and stop chewing. Someone told me, and I was like, good, I'm gonna pass that on. So Carrie, you can. I'll let you have that one. You can use that.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to describe it. So I suppose going right back to where it was. So I'd done a bit of. So a few months after Ted had passed away, we decided to do a bit of community fundraising at the university.
Yeah.
And that went really well, and it was a really good way to honour him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I, at my university, did a placement year. So it meant that I sort of went and moved away and worked for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was approached by the Farming Community Network, which is a mental health charity that supports farmers, walks with farmers. And I basically turned around to them and I went, let's do some fundraising. And they were like, great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do like a walk or a half marathon or something? I was like, well, I've seen loads of people, not loads of people, but it's like, I've heard that Ironmans are like one of the hardest things you can do on the planet. Let's do that. And they were like, you don't have to. But I said it then. I was like, well, I've said it. I'm going to do it. And then I started to think about it, and I think with anything that big, you have to give it the respect it deserves. Yeah. Otherwise, it will break you.
Yeah, physically and mentally, by the way.
Physically and mentally. And I basically came up with the idea that I was going to set up a Facebook page and I was going to document every week of my training to try and use it as a metaphor that even if you go through a long period of suffering, there will be an end. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So for me, I went on a 30-week training program.
Mm-hmm.
30 weeks I realise is a long time. It might not sound too bad. It's 6 months, basically. Half a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I started about this time 2 years ago. And that's what it was. I didn't really think much of the event. My goal was I'm going to share the highs and the lows that I go through in training and try and use that as a message to not only the farming community but to everyone that there will be highs and lows in life. But this is I can see the end goal. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Is that where you started making content?
Yes. I've had Tom York Fit since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very much me just posting. It was awful content, but it was just me sharing my fitness journey.
That's not awful content, mate. You don't have to justify that. You're allowed to do. You're allowed to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It just you decided that you wanted that page to serve you in a different way.
Yes, very much so, and it was just very surface level fitness content. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm doing for training. Mm-hmm. Oh, I've done this race, or physique updates or whatnot. That maybe some people cared about, but it was more just my own little.
No one has to care about it, mate. It's your page.
Yeah, it was my diary entry in a way. But I did start sharing the videos on that and the weekly updates. my level of content experience at that point was I would upload some videos. Some of them are actually still on TikTok, and not realise that there was no sound on them. So I'd done like a voiceover, post it, and I went and watched it back, and there was no sound, and I was like, oh, I'll just leave it up there. I can't be bothered to go back and.
Resilience, though. Look at your page now.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. You all start somewhere.
Yeah.
That is another thing as well. I think a lot of people expect to start posting content and then get shut down by the idea that they haven't.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I haven't gained like 10,000 followers overnight? I suppose that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But so yeah, and as the thing that I look back on now with the Ironman is it was not a feat of physical or mental. It was not about physical fitness or mental toughness. It was the amount of belief that I then built from that, and realised that the Ironman, the race, was not the thing that gave me the value.
Yeah.
It was the 30 weeks that led up to that. It was even if you were to look at it from like starting posting videos on it, well, if I didn't do that, would I have made the videos, and would I now be in this position now where I'm
being able to help more people
now?
And having a bigger impact?
And obviously throughout that, it was a fundraising campaign. I was really fortunate that it got picked up by quite a few sort of magazines within the farming community and things like that. And when I crossed the finish line and shut the page down, it was bang on £8,000.
Class.
It was 7,860, and then someone anonymous donated £140 a minute before it shut down, and I have a really funny suspicion it was my dad, but he hasn't owned it.
I've got a suspicion it could have been your dad as well.
Yeah.
That's class. So do you know where most of the money went? Have you spoke to the charity? Did you hand it over and let them do their thing with it, or did you have a choice on where that money went?
So it was set up on a Just Giving page that the charity set up, so I basically didn't touch any of the money. It's a charity that I volunteer for and I'm still very active with now, and I know that the money goes towards, so they have a dedicated helpline 24/7 that farmers or anyone involved in the farming community can ring up. They also have ongoing casework, so for more of the serious cases they will have a person that is basically like a caseworker for that either individual or family or group of people that need it.
So is it does the charity work on prevention, or do they do as much work after people have a mental health crisis within the industry? Do they have a facility where if you feel like you are going through a mental health crisis you can contact them, and do they have I don't want to call it an aftercare facility, but something along those lines?
So their initiatives are centred around prevention.
Of course, yeah.
Their services are centred around cure or support, I should say, because cure makes it sound like it's a condition. The casework will be a full journey, so that will see the person from the point at which they rang up, which may just be, like you say, I feel like I'm starting to struggle.
Yeah.
Then they'll try and find ways to prevent the struggle from getting any worse, and then they'll follow through for however long the person feels as though they need the support for. I think any mental I mean, a lot of what drives me is that prevention rather than cure, and I think that's why the charity works so well with me. A lot of their initiatives are just raising awareness, making people feel heard, and just hoping that just by sharing information, signposting, people will recognise the signs.
So the Ironman then, what did you learn about yourself the most in terms of, like, you know, the connection between the physical feat and the I guess what you got out of it and what you still apply today?
That anything is possible if you tell yourself you can do it.
Yeah.
The only thing that changed with me from having no triathlon experience to becoming an Ironman is just telling myself you can do it.
Class.
And there was something that really gets on my nerve so many times is when you advise someone to do something and they go, oh, I can't do that. It's like, no, the only reason you can't do it is because you're telling yourself you can't do it.
Yeah, we used to ban the word can't in the PT studio. You just be like, I can't do that. And I'm like, I believe that language is the foundation for narrative.
Yeah.
So the words that we put out into the world are the foundation for our beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? But they obviously start in our head because of the way the brain works and how we put out information into the world. But like, and hopefully there'll be people listening to this who have said stuff like this too, but like, people are like, oh God, I can't, they go to attempt a deadlift and I can't do that. And it's like, Ross Edgley just swam around the UK in 6 months without touching land. What? Don't tell me you can't pick that fucking bar off the floor. Like, you can.
Yeah.
You've just got to make sure that you're in the position to do so, both physically and mentally, and you are in control of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not difficult.
Yeah.
But you are in control of producing that outcome.
Yeah, and I think that's, like I was saying about the training, the 30 weeks came from understanding and giving it the respect that it deserved, because I couldn't do an Ironman tomorrow. Of
course.
That's just facts. Like,
yeah.
Maybe I could if I really wanted to put myself in a world of pain and probably injury.
You could. You would you could scrape yourself over the line.
Yeah.
It'd hurt but you could scrape yourself over the line.
It would be a really dumb idea.
Yeah. But the case in point is it's possible, right?
Yeah, the case in point, it is possible, but too many people are scared to put in the work that is going to get them to the point to be able to do the thing that they are.
Everyone wants to be an Ironman, right? Like the thought of the outcome is attractive, let's say. And if you look at my Instagram page, my page is obviously built around physical visual transformations, but one of the reasons we're having this conversation and one of the reasons for this podcast is because I want people to be able to see past the result.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you're saying there. One of the things I say to people a lot within coaching is process over progress.
Yeah.
I've written in my Instagram bio, I help people get into the shape of their life by focusing on the way they feel and the way they perform, not the way they look.
Yeah.
When people ask me, other coaches, about producing the volume of results consistently, I'm like, focus on the human in front of you. That's why this thing's called human-centric.
Yeah.
Right? Help them understand the process. Help them understand all of the things that they can get from the process.
Yeah. And enjoy the process.
Correct. Yeah, you've got to enjoy it. One of the things which I try and get across to people is like, if you are so focused on the progress, you're missing the wood for the trees. And that's what I say to the other coaches who ask me about that. I say, like, you've gotta help people understand that the process is the real win. Like, the process is the win.
Yeah.
And I guess you showcasing that is the thing that I'm drawn to you, I think, as an individual, right? Like, that's why our relationship is kind of, we're having more and more conversations and getting to know each other a lot better.
Yeah.
That's definitely, I think, one of your strong points. I think you are very process. Would you say you're process focused?
I'm now, yeah. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've always been. No,
it's something that you have to develop through hard work, right?
And one of the things that I reminded myself in the build up to doing the talk is, come a few days, this will be over.
Yeah.
Find pleasure in the fact that you have been given the opportunity to feel so nervous about something that you care about.
Yeah.
Yes, you may not be enjoying this feeling right now.
Yeah.
But what a pleasure it is to be able to even be in a position to have that feeling. And there's that quote off The Office, isn't there? Like, you don't realise you're in the good old days until you've left them.
Yeah.
And in a really weird way, this will sound a bit psychotic to some people, but if I could go back to like week 20 of Ironman training where I was doing 2 sessions a day, 6 days a week, because on top of the Ironman, I still had the bodybuilder in me.
Yeah.
That was like push pull legs.
Yeah.
And my coach at the time was like, really think we could probably just go down to like one full body strength and conditioning, and I was like, yeah, but just I'm not doing incline dumbbell press then, am I?
Mate, if you want to do something that you want to do, you've just got to find a way, a structure of and a strategy of fitting it in. More things are way possible, and this is one of the things that we focus on heavily with coaching as well with Atoa.
I think just probably the final point on the Ironman as well is I did virtually all my training, especially the long rides, with no music.
Did you?
No headphones.
That's what the kids call raw dogging it, isn't it?
Raw dogging, yeah. I suppose so, yeah. That got me very comfortable with my own mind. And my own thoughts. So much so now that I used to go through periods where I'd feel lonely. Now it's more, no, I'm just alone.
Yeah, well, it's because of we're never alone, right? Like there's a lot. I'm seeing a lot of that at the moment online, where like you just people are less and less. There is more issues with mental health because people are less and less comfortable with their own company,
yeah.
And the voice in their head isn't as clear because it has. There is so many things that come out of your phone or whatever electronic device you're using that have an impact on that voice and have an impact on the words that you think and the words that you say and the stuff that you put out into the world yourself. And that's why things are less and less authentic because they're impacted by more things, right?
COVID's had a massive impact on. So I've got 3 younger sisters and like the youngest one, not necessarily her, but her friends now, they lack like the social skills that we would have developed by that point. And I think now that people's social skills for like, let's say people in their like 16, 17, 18 have been developed from the phone.
Yeah, it's mad as well because you want to grab someone, don't you, and say like, if you as a young person, if you master that early, you get way ahead. You get way ahead. Like I see you as someone who is ahead of their time, essentially. Whether you like it or not, it's
just old. That's what you say.
No, mate, I definitely wasn't like you at 23. I can tell you that for nothing now. I'll be back chatting with Tom in just a sec, but I just wanted to say one thing. If you have a business or an organisation or a team of people that you think might benefit from Tom coming in, sharing his experience and giving a similar talk that he gave to thousands of farmers in his community very recently, then I would not hesitate to contact him. And if I had a team of people and I knew a few of them potentially were struggling and I wanted them to focus on what resilience could do for them in their life, I would definitely contact Tom. But I feel like, I mean, listen, it's all through suffering, unfortunately. It's not through suffering, it's from, challenging experiences that change you for the better.
Yeah.
Right? You either go down one pathway, and interestingly about your talk about resilience, you one of your things, your third facet of resilience is decisions, and essentially having 2 decisions for everything, right? Like, so you can either go down one pathway or you can go down the other, so
and that's what it comes down to. And in my speech I gave the example of losing mum when I was 5, and for a long time being the older brother to my younger sister, growing up and getting very good at bottling my emotions up, so much so that, like we were saying about before, if someone mentioned, like say Dad, he tried to encourage us to speak openly about it, I'd be out the door quicker than, or I'd just shut down. Be like, can we get back to watching the TV or something? I just did not want to speak about it, because to me it was so much easier to just ignore it and pretend like it was something that wasn't a thing. And then as I grew up and I got older and I got exposed to more external influences, such as going to university and all of a sudden being in an environment where drinking and consuming alcohol was a big part of the culture, that gave me an avenue without me realising it
to cope.
But it wasn't necessarily coping, because by that point it wasn't, I'd done such a good job at really like packing down the emotions, like so much so that it wasn't ever something that I'd think about on a day-to-day basis. It wasn't a conscious thing like, oh, don't get upset about that.
Yeah.
And then I went to uni, started drinking, and it was like just 3-4 days a week, because that was just like Monday was student night, Wednesday was sports night, Tuesday and Thursday were your hungover days, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday was hungover as well. And that was just part of the culture, and I don't think that's good long term, but it was just, that was the university at the time. And
you can send it for a bit, can't you?
Exactly, yeah, and I definitely did send it for a bit. But the issue was the outcomes that would come from the drinking. And looking back at it now, I just drank because it was the times that I allowed myself to get upset.
Well, what's the saying? Drunk mind speaks a sober heart.
Yeah, or
right?
like sober words. No, drunk words are sober thoughts.
Yeah, and basically when you drink or you take any kind of substance like that, you essentially lose intuition.
Yeah.
Right, and like I guess part of your intuition controls your subconscious.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's just easy to let it all come out, isn't it? Once you've.
And that's exactly what happened. And going back to what we were saying about the victim thing, there was a period where I probably let it go on a bit too long.
Yeah.
And I wasn't playing the victim because I was never asking for it to happen, and I was also never. I would drink, like with the group that I'd gone out with.
Yeah.
And then I'd disappear, go and get upset, or go home, and just like all of my nights ended at about midnight, because by that point I was drunk enough to be able to allow myself to cry.
Yeah.
Don't think everyone was like, oh, what time did you get in last night? I'd be like, oh yeah, 2 a.m. It's like, really, we never seen you? Well, yeah, because at midnight I was in bed.
Yeah.
Sobbing my eyes out.
Yeah.
That was fine, and then I got with Holly during that period.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she wants to spend time with you on a night out, and she also worries about you. You know, like, you keep going home, Tom. And then she realised what was going on.
Right.
And she gave me a massive. Because then I used to get upset to her.
Yeah.
And I used to cry to her, and it would ruin her nights, because obviously she's at uni as well. And going back to that victim thing, I was dragging it out basically.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gone and got counselling. And my counsellor always used to make the joke that she would say probably 3 words in our session. But it was the only time that I'd ever sat down with someone and just said everything. Like literally, from the memories that I had to what I'd experienced after, to the pressure that I felt from being the older brother. But I was in this room where I felt safe.
Yeah.
And I remember I'd walk out of every counselling session and I'd just be like...
Class, that feeling, isn't it?
And you don't realise how much weight and luggage you've been carrying mentally and emotionally until it gets offloaded.
Yeah.
And now I'm at a point where for the past 2-3 years now, I'll be the last person to go home on a night out. I'll never ever feel the need to use alcohol as a escape. I'm not saying that I went teetotal, probably also still drink quite sometimes too much.
But that's true recovery from that feeling though.
I've rebuilt the relationship.
Correct. Yeah. If you feel safe and you trust yourself enough to do that, mate, that's the big win.
And this could be quite relevant at the moment. So obviously everyone's making their New Year's resolutions, and for a lot of people it'll be cut out alcohol, cut out chocolate, cut out fast food. What's the cost of doing that? Because if the cost of cutting something out is going to have a net negative impact on you, maybe it's not about making such drastic changes. Maybe it's just, okay, well, instead of going out 3-4 times a week or having a glass of wine with every meal, maybe I'll just wait till a Saturday.
Have a Saturday rule, Friday rule,
something like that.
I think some people sometimes they do, and I said this on the last podcast with Alex. I think sometimes people do need to go all the way to one end of the scale to bring it back to the middle. I can be like that sometimes. I very much can have a 6 to 8 week period where I do go teetotal. To then enjoy it again. So, that's me personally. That's just probably my personality traits. Helps me with other things as well. But yeah, you're right in what you're saying. People, they make drastic changes, don't they? And I did a post the other day saying you probably don't need 75 hard. You need about 330 and about 85%. And you sound. Do you know what I mean? It's a big part of it. Tell me then, what have you? I know you were only 5. After you allowed yourself to think more clearly about the mum situation, what have you learned about yourself, and what have you learned about relationships because of that?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. So, growing up, I have memories of mum, and unfortunately they're not memories that I wish I had. It's all very much in the build-up to it. But then coming out from that life growing up was my dad, my sister, and me. 8 years on, dad remarried, and now we live in a house.
That's nice,
3.
mate. That's nice.
2 stepsisters, a sister.
It
is nice. It's nice now.
It
was definitely challenging when it.
100%. Yeah. I come from my mum and dad both remarried. My life now, as I know it as an adult, is better because I had more people involved in my life. That's a very simple way to look at it. And I hope that you feel that way now.
Definitely. I think one thing that you've actually sparked me, which I've never really thought too much about or spoken about, and I've just come to this conclusion now, but growing up and going through school, I really struggled to make lad mates, like mates who were lads. A lot of my best friends who I would feel comfortable around were girls. And I wonder whether that's because that's what I was lacking.
It's mummy issues and daddy issues, isn't it? You see it in both sexes as well. You see it across whatever you are lacking in. You gravitate towards.
And I always felt like in a group of lads, I could never be myself, or I could never. I was always feeling judged. I think partly as well because gaining a lot of weight as I grew up. Probably as a byproduct of the emotions that I was holding, there was also such a lack of confidence, especially being in school where you've got the hierarchy of there's the popular group, and then you've got like the second popular group, and where do you fit in with that? Ever since I started addressing the emotions and really speaking about that loss of having a motherly figure in my life, now my best mates are the lads that I've gone through.
I think that's why identity work is dead important, and we see that in physical achievements as well, or physical transformations or sporting achievements. Like, you have to decide who you want to be. You have to get to know that person really well. And then you have to act like not act like the person you want to be. You just have to be the person you want to be on a day-to-day basis to reaffirm your own identity to yourself. And I guess what you're talking about there is because you were suppressing all those emotions. It's hard to do that, and that's why I always try and work with people on their identity of, like, who do you want to be? Start convincing yourself before you start convincing other people.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you're trying to be someone you're not to fit in,
yeah,
you're just going to end up going down a pathway of hating yourself. And it's so easy to be pissed off and hate other people.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be pissed off and hate yourself.
Yeah.
Because your inner monologue is the only voice you've got to contend with on that, and that's a slippery slope.
And it's there's one of the things that I sort of try and remind myself is, would you speak to other people the way that you speak to yourself?
Yeah.
It's like, well, most of the time, no.
Yeah, exactly.
So why are you so harsh on yourself?
Yeah.
It made me laugh when you put out the photo on your story and you said, oh, he's an Iron Man and a hunk of one or something, and then there was obviously one of them photos that I posted on Instagram. I still see myself as the fat kid in school.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how like lean or how much muscle I put on.
Process over progress, mate.
Yeah.
That's why the process to you is so important, because you still feel like that, but you're reaffirming the character of who you want to be and what's important to you.
And I think coming back to trying to dim down resilience, obviously what we've spoken about are quite strong and harsh challenges that you'll go through, but there's so many things I practice every day subconsciously now, because I've just done it for such a long time, that do build that resilience. Don't hit snooze on your alarm clock. Eat clean 80% of the time, 20% eat whatever you want. Take care of yourself. Make sure you give gratitude to others and are kind to others. These little things that I think we sometimes lose sight of when we're just trying to... Correct. It's like the small acts of kindness are the little things that will make your daily life happy, because you can't do an Ironman every day.
Okay, mate, let me ask you some questions, because a couple of people have asked me some questions for you.
Okay, this is where I get put on the spot. And
they're good. They're really good. They're really good. I've already asked you one.
Yeah.
James asked the biggest thing you learnt about yourself during the Ironman, and it's if you said, didn't you?
It's telling yourself you can do it, as opposed to
anything is possible. Basically, it's possible.
Yeah.
He also asked, on average, how long does it take you to slip into conversation that you completed an Ironman?
That's why it made me laugh when that's why it made me laugh when you brought it up, because I thought there are going to be some people that watch this that thought, oh, Tom is in his element here because someone's asked him about his Ironman and he hasn't had to bring it up.
Let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
How can women best support their male partner when they bottle stuff up?
That's a good question.
What does let me rephrase that so you can relate to it a bit more.
Yeah.
You have told me lots of amazing things about Holly.
Yeah.
What does she do to give you a platform or make you feel comfortable enough to talk to her about what you need to talk to her about?
So, firstly, I'll say in no way can I and should I ever expect her to understand what it is that I'm going through, unless I am very open and communicate with her. So I think a lot of the responsibility, if you're in a situation where you think that your partner, whether it's your boyfriend or your girlfriend, is struggling, try and take them out of either the situation that you think they're struggling in, or take them to a place where they're going to feel comfortable to have an open conversation. So let's say they're stressed about work and they work from home. Don't try and ask them about work, the stress that they're experiencing in the house. Take them out for a walk. Take them away from the environment that's creating that stress. So that's why, like, the gym for me has always been a place where if I'm going with my mates or with Holly, we'll have quite open conversations about things that are going on in our lives, because it's a place where none of that is going to be affected in there. And it's trying to create an environment that encourages open conversations, and I think that's where it starts. So communication is so key. If you can't communicate with your partner in a relationship, it's gonna be really difficult.
I've got a quote for you. Unspoken expectations are premeditated resentments. So for me, that means in that position, explaining to your partner as a female that you are ready to listen, but it is their responsibility to tell you.
Yeah,
I think is a dead important one. If the male or whoever, whichever way round it is not willing to come forward, you've got to, like you say, one, control the environment, but then two, just tell them outright, like you are ready to help, but you've got to give them the same as what we said before.
Yeah.
Power, responsibility is power. Give them a responsibility and give them the power.
Using an example, so Holly was struggling with a lot of sort of self-confidence in work and stress, and some things might happen in the day that trigger that.
Yeah.
So what I started doing was I said to her, right, every day on your drive home, ring me and just tell me about your day. And just by doing that, that then gives her the opportunity to just offload whatever it is, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
I don't always have to give her advice. Going back to that, we don't always have to find the solution or offer a fix. But when she gets home and walks through the door, it's been offloaded. Yes, that's come from my awareness of obviously knowing that that's probably something that's going to help. But if you can pinpoint what it is that you think your partner's struggling with, then just think, right, well, how can I get them to offload it as openly and honestly as they can?
Wicked. I've got one last question. This one's from me. If someone is feeling like they're at the bottom, apart from talking to somebody, what can they do for themselves to make sure that they are moving forward on the right path?
Yeah, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because the obvious answer would be do something that makes you feel happy. But if you're someone that's struggling to find happiness,
to see the happiness,
talking is a daunting thing.
Yeah.
I think just lay out the best thing that I can do, and I do for myself sometimes, is write down a list, and on one side have all the things that you can control and all the things that you can't control about whatever it is that's making you feel that way.
Yeah.
Whatever you can't control, you can't control.
Yeah.
You're probably never going to be able to control it because it's going to be something that's external.
Yeah.
What you can control is the systems that you put in place around it. So if you can control something as simple as, I'm going to make my bed in the morning, and then every time you make your bed you tick it off, it's not big, but it's something to go on. And if you are really at the bottom and you're struggling to find happiness or fulfillment or joy from life, then just start by writing down the most simplest things you can do for yourself. And even if in the moment it doesn't feel like a big win, it's still a win. And you build up to them big wins, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Little moments. Tom, you're a superstar. Thank you very much.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, it's been a pleasure having you, mate. And good luck with the the way you move forward with the whole. I guess the right word is personal brand, isn't it? And what you do with your personal brand and speaking to that many people. Hopefully, maybe there's someone watching this that wants to book you in for a talk, and you can spread the message.
I have got a few big life goals that potentially from building this personal brand, a way to tie in the farming, the fitness, and the mental health. There is a bit of a sort of goal that I'm working towards.
Nice.
And we'll see whether it
Don't want to talk about it yet? Come back another day and talk about it?
Yeah, maybe we'll save that for later one.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Back to the good stuff. Thanks for listening to today's podcast. If you've not yet listened to the first podcast with Alex, you can find that on my page. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on my YouTube. And if you've got any constructive feedback, I want to hear that too. See you all next week.